And I think it's still bleeding. So this week we're going to be making a vegan Parkin. We are back with another week of the Great British Bake Off Technical Challenge. Now we're going to jump straight in. Actually, I just received a text just before I started that sentence. And I'm really excited for this week's episode because I think it genuinely is going to be something that's going to shock both you and I. The message says, Happy Halloween. For your Autumn Week Spooktacular Technical Challenge, you need to bake a vegan take on a bonfire night classic, Parkin. I have no idea what that is.
Is that it? Are you taking the mic?
Is a vegan Parkin? It should be a rich, sticky vegan gingerbread cake sliced into perfectly neat squares, candied ginger on top, and I need to make 16 of those. Now I have only an hour and a half. This is probably the shortest episode I will ever film, I think. Now, there are aspects of the bake that will take much longer than you think. You also haven't been provided with the measurements for the spice. Oh yeah, he really hasn't given me any measurements. So it's up to you to perfectly balance these. Also, you need to decide how much baking powder to use. Too little, it won't rise, and too much will make it balloon. I hope it won't be too much of a fright. I feel like that's so threatening. This whole recipe is so threatening. Okay, so I'm just looking at the ingredients right now. And to start off with, we've got crystallized ginger. There is a lot to prepare here. So you're required to cube the ginger. You've got to also finely chop the prunes. You've also got to... Now, for the cloves is grounded. I don't have any ground cloves. And nor do I have any fine oatmeal. So I'm going to blend the oatmeal. And then I'm going to blend the cloves as well to make the grounded fine powder version. And then in terms of the measurements of like the each spices, I'm going to leave all the information and all the ingredients that you exactly need for this bake down below in the description. However, for me, I'm going to go on the basis of the text that I was being given. So there's going to be a lot of guesswork for me today. It's going to be definitely interesting because I've never had a Parkin. I've never heard one. It does just sound like a ginger cake. So I don't know if you guys remember these. This recipe literally reminds me of the Jamaican ginger cake that you used to get after school, or at least I used to get after school. Okay, enough with the rambling. We're moving on with preparing the spices. So we've got the nutmeg here, the ginger, the cloves, the oats, and any other bits that you need to prepare before actually making the batter and the crystallized ginger. Pretty straightforward, really. You're just grating the ginger. It's quite confusing, actually. I was doing this. Huh? Where did it go? And that was all it's left, really. Not much, really. Now, I'd be particularly careful here. I didn't have a great time doing this. You're essentially slicing in cubes. As I was saying, I gingerly went back to cubing the ginger. Carefully this time, obviously. There's no precise measurement here. Just do it. Now, combining the wet ingredients, the instructions said specifically something called a melting point. I've never heard of this technique, honestly. I just assumed putting all the wet ingredient into a saucepan and heating it up. Now, I've never worked with treacle, but if you guys ever worked with it, it smells burnt already. Maybe that's just my personal opinion. Now, I'm adding the prunes and the ginger here just so it softens down as well. Now, alongside this, you're also adding the ginger, water, and sugar. I think it's equal parts water and sugar. I actually went under a little bit to make a syrup and the crystallized ginger. Honestly, this part takes the longest. From memory, when I made the lemon one last year, it required quite a long time to cook to get rid of the bitterness. I kind of applied the same method with the ginger, just heating it over like at least 30 to 40 minutes. That's my experience. By this point, I had a weird feeling that I burnt the wet mixture, but I went ahead again and it didn't taste burnt, so I thought it was okay. Clove first. say like that much. So quarter clove, quarter nutmeg, I think. Then cinnamon can go a little bit stronger because they're not that strong of a ingredient. I think about that, like a whole one. Oh wow, it's strong. Ginger on the other hand, ground ginger. This will be interesting. Okay. Ground ginger, I think also the same. Oh wow. Also the same. I think about the same. Like that. I think they're quite plenty enough. 1 quarter, 1 quarter. Despite the lack of information for the ingredients, I honestly don't think you can go wrong with the exception of the clove. The clove is probably the strongest spice there is, so just be careful really. You're combining the milk here, it starts to emulsify. It looks kind of funny at the beginning. It's a trust process here, and then once that's done, we can start adding other ingredients. Salt. Nice generous amount because it's already so sweet. We don't need any more, but you know. For today's video, if you have come this far, please let me know by putting a ghost emoji down in the comments down below to let me know that you've come this far. Next up is adding the last two ingredients, the flour and the fine oat flour. Now, we did use plain flour, which gives me the thought that actually we might need to use a bit more baking powder to actually get this to rise. But then, I mean, baking powder time. Right. I'm thinking definitely, oh wow, that's a lot. Definitely 1. And then I think maybe 1.5. Like that. 1.5, like that. I think that's plenty. I literally think that's plenty. Okay, so the actual instruction says 2, so I wasn't actually too far off, but you can actually tell a massive difference with the lack of baking powder here. The dependency on the baking powder would determine how much they bloom or how much this cake grows. You will find that my version didn't grow as much, so you can go a little bit heavier with the baking powder. Anyway, into the oven for 180 for around about 30 to 50 minutes. Honestly, I don't know how long it took. Look at all the hair on the ginger. That's just weird. Probably one of my favorite things I've crystallized recently. Last year we did the lemon rind and the thyme and it flopped so badly. I got an eggy thyme and nothing was just drying up or crystallizing, whereas this you can already see from the ginger fiber that is already crystallized. And so all I did was encourage the drying out process by putting it somewhere warm, and it worked like a treat. It was probably one of my favorite things to do actually. Now moving on to the next step is to make the icing. Fairly straightforward. You're using the ginger syrup and you're combining it with the icing sugar. That's all. The test here is pipeable, or at least it has a drip test, and that's all what you want. I'm not going to be able to make 16 out here. Did a quick prick test with the actual cake, made sure that it comes out dry and not wet still. Took around about 45 to 50 minutes actually. These are the crystallized ginger, which I'll be adding on top with the icing. Now you can pipe this. I don't remember there being any particular rules as to how you do it. I piped it just for like clean lines, but they turned out really well and then they were really delicious as well. Now you have the ginger syrup left. Use it in your cocktails. You can actually marinate meat, do whatever you want with it. But don't waste it. We did it in time. It was good. I think I didn't, however, I think I failed the challenge. I did not make 16 perfectly squared Parkins. I didn't compensate for the fact that these Parkins also, I don't know, it didn't spread as well as I thought in the oven. This is like not my blood, by the way. And of course, as it is Halloween, the video did not come with its own tribulations. I actually cut myself, and this is not like fake cut or like for Halloween purposes. I literally cut myself cutting the ginger. Ginger can be super tough and super sort of stubborn as well, so I really recommend being careful. But I want to show you guys how well we did. Unfortunately, yes, I didn't really meet the challenge, but I think it did well. I think the measurements in terms of general sense of like the spices and the baking powder were on the right lines. I think they could have been bigger, basically. I think they're not as thick as I'd imagined they were. But anyway, here they are. Aren't they amazing? Let me just get you off the tracking. There you are. Let's give it a taste. Pretty crispy, actually. The outer layer is really crispy. I would say it's pretty good. It really does remind me of your quote-unquote Jamaican ginger cake that I used to get. Especially for me, I used to get it from after school with a glass of milk. I won't lie to you, the icing is not necessary. And I don't think the ginger is either. Might be just that added skill that you need to like do to showcase that you have those skills. Ginger turned out alright actually this time. Might be even easier than the rosemary. But I think this will be amazing. And again, this is bringing back old school vibes. Getting custard with it. A proper creamy, vanilla-y custard would be perfect with this. All in all, I think I need a tea or something. But look at the ginger. Can you see it? There you are. It is good. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't hard. It wasn't stressful. It wasn't. I thought it was easy breezy. But once I cut my hand and like I was wasting so much time with trying to make up the time for cutting my hand, we did make it. I think we had like only a couple of seconds of the clock. I lost my watch because there was so much blood coming down my hand. It was just not worth showing you guys. It was proper gory. Thank you guys for watching. Honestly, it was it's a fun video. It's a quick video. One of the easier challenges, I would say. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I think equal rewards to the actual effort. I honestly wish I just didn't cut my hand, and it hurts so much. I ain't gonna lie to you, but yeah, thank you for watching. Look at this, and I think it's still bleeding.